All right. Hey, how you doing? This is Daniel Kano, and we are live on Open Studio. I have taken a break for the last couple months dealing with some health issues with my back, and I'm excited to be back here with you guys to continue hosting this live art making session here on YouTube and getting individuals from around the country to come and make art together. It's a really exciting opportunity. It's a really fun process. And I've really enjoyed all the artists that have taken the leap to be vulnerable, to have camera on them, to make art while others are making art. So we're back at it. We're starting today. We'll be running it once a week for free. We do have a surprise coming in probably the next 6 weeks or so, where I'll be doing a 7-day open studio intensive. So more information will come out about that, which is going to be a really cool experience for those who want to jump in and make one or three new pieces in 1 week with oversight and accountability. So looking forward to that. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for participating. And if you're interested in participating, you can go to the link at my website at breakthroughart.com. You can go to our Facebook page, actually, is be very good, called Open Studio. And there are links posted there as well as in our Facebook group called the Art Breakthrough Collective. I would love to get as many artists around the country right now making art for the purpose of putting out their vision, their purpose, and for healing and for catharsis and for vision, because we all need that right now. There's so much going on in the world. The more we can express our artistic capacity, the better off we're all going to be, the more inspiration we're all going to receive. So I've got two paintings here that I'm going to be working on today. This is an older one that I'm re-editing. This is a newer one that I'm still working on, a lot of texture and color. I like to go between the landscape and the abstract, and I love working with folks in Open Studio. So we will be starting in just a few minutes. And at that point, we will have individuals joining in. I know this is the first in a couple months, and people need to get their chops back up and get recommitted. So whoever's showing up today, thank you. Looking forward to working with you. All right, stay tuned. We will be, we are live now, and we will be have people joining any moment. All right, we got our first person coming in. Hello, welcome to Open Studio. My name is Daniel Kano. Would you be so kind as telling me how you say your name? You're on mute.
Hi, my name is Taina.
Taina, beautiful name, beautiful
Thank
name.
you.
So the way that Open Studio works is that everybody is live, like myself, in studio with work around them. So if you have some work that you can work on in the next hour and a half, that is what the focus will be. We have some other people about to populate as well. And so it's a group art making session where we talk about what we're working on. We get feedback from each other. We have a session of working, and then we generally go into a breakout room, have some further conversation from there. So is that something that you'll be able to do?
Yes,
Excellent, Tina. Thank you very much for being here.
thank you. Right.
All right, we've got Valerie. Valerie, great to see you again. It's been some time. Appreciate you showing up to this. You're on mute. See if you can unmute there. Michael, I see you here. How are you
Yeah.
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Screen is sideways, Michael.
How do I'm sideways?
You're sideways, yeah.
How do I fix it?
I'm not sure.
Okay, let me figure it out.
All right. So again, welcome to Open Studio. This is a great opportunity for people to make art together. Catherine, welcome back. Those of you
Hi.
who haven't been here, I've had that 2-month hiatus of dealing with some health stuff, and I'm hopeful that I'll be able to continue with this for some time. And there are some exciting new things I've been working on as far as what I'm wanting to offer for you know, for the people that I work with Breakthrough Art and my coaching and so forth. One thing I will be talking about more, and you'll see more information in the Art Breakthrough Collective. If you haven't joined the Art Breakthrough Collective, please do. There's an Open Studio link in there specifically for members that are joining Open Studio like yourselves to post your work and get feedback. As well, sometime probably in around 6 weeks. So we're still building it up. I'm going to be doing a 7-day Open Studio intensive. So there'll be some more information about that. It'll be 7 days in a row. There'll be at 2-hour sessions instead of hour-and-a-half sessions. Still need to figure out the timing based on what people need. And that's going to be a really exciting opportunity to get to everyone starting fresh and new and building work together for an online exhibition after that on Artsy. So anyone want to provide any updates about what they are working on artistically, what they're creatively fired up about at this time in their lives, or share any work? I'd be happy to start that way. If you want to just unmute yourself and raise your hand and share what you've got going on, it'd be great. Okay, Valerie.
Yeah, so I haven't been painting for about a year now. And so I'm thankful that you are doing this because I've found it really hard for me to get myself motivated to just come into my garage and do some painting. So I'm just gonna be fooling around today. I covered over yesterday, I covered over a terrible canvas painting that my son and I went to one of those, wine and painting things. And I didn't want to throw the canvases out. So I covered it over with some gesso, and I'm just gonna see what I can pull out of that.
Well, that's very exciting. And, what's most important is showing up and doing your work. And that's, one of the benefits of this Wednesday class. Wednesday for now, it might change to a Thursday, but just that you can show up and you can know you're going to work for an hour and a half, and then there's going to be some critiques, and there's going to be learning from what other people are doing and watching other artists doing their work. So I'm really happy you're here, Valerie. I hope this sparks your artistic creativity to keep on going forward.
Thank you.
Yeah. Catherine, it looks like you have a big work in progress there. Do you want to tell us about it?
Sorry, did you say my name? Did you say my name?
Yes, Catherine. I was just asking you if you could talk about the work that you're working on, because it looks like there's a tremendous amount going on. Maybe you can, I don't know if you're able to turn your screen a little more so we can get a little more of a frontal view of that painting.
To hear you better.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right.
And then Taina, same, if you're able to position your camera so we can see what you're working on, if that's okay with you.
All right. You mean while I'm working or now?
Yeah. Why don't you tell us what you're working on? Tell us what you're working on, Catherine.
Okay, so this is I told you I was in a program, and our assignment was to start a painting with acrylics and then go into oil. And I've been working with acrylics for like 30 years, and I mean oils. And I did the first layer with acrylics, and it was so painful because it just dries too fast and it drives me crazy. So I just did the one, and now I'm on the oil level. I just started at the top, not the bottom of the acrylic level.
Yeah, beautiful skyscapes go so far. And It
Yes.
is always interesting to go between acrylics and oils. They're both so beneficial in different ways. And, you know,
Yeah.
I like to sometimes go back and forth on a painting between them. Currently, the two
You
I'm
can't
working
go
on,
over oil though. You can't go over the oil with acrylic, right?
you can if it's totally dry.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, some people may say it's not a great idea, but I'm all for experimenting and doing whatever it takes to, get it out of yourself and have fun. So I find, some parts of acrylics is great because you can also draw on top of it. You can use pastels and chalk on top of it. And
Yeah.
then, it gives you a dry surface in sometimes 5 minutes to 45 minutes. It's a couple mediums that I've used. There's a product through a company called BioShield that has um, what is it called? It's a non-toxic glaze for people who are doing like faux painting. And what's
Uh,
really with the old business I
I'm
had,
very interested in that.
and what's nice,
I'm using, sorry, again.
but what's nice about that material is you can mix it with acrylics, and it's kind of like an extender. It extends the drying time. And then this painting over here that I'm going to work on more today has been all working with this heavy matte gel with acrylic and painting really, really thick and heavy. And it's really interesting because I've done a lot of really heavy textured paintings with oils, and it's so different doing a heavy texture painting in acrylics because you can't go back into it and rework what
Yeah.
you have there. So it's all a good learning experience, but I really like what you're working on. I look forward to seeing that
Okay.
for you.
I just wanted to tell you, I'm working with earth paint acrylics, and they're plant-based. So that was another reason why I don't want to use acrylic, because it's not natural. So what is the name of that product you said? Bio what?
It's called BioShield Paints.
Okay.
They're based out of Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay.
And what's nice about that material is that it is non-toxic. It's zero VOC. And one second. And so, can you tell us what kind of earth paints are you using? What is the product?
Okay, it's called natural earth paint. It's called natural earth paints.
Oh, that's cool. Natural acrylic.
Yeah, and
I've never seen that
they
before.
started years ago. I bought them. They have pigment, and they work with oil, walnut oil. But you're gonna love something so much, which is their hold on, let me get it. Okay. So I'm hoping this works as good as the golden, but this is actually marble dust. It's called
Right.
impasto. It's marble dust, and you could put that in oil or acrylic. So you could use that instead of the gold. I'm pretty sure you could use it instead of the golden. I'm gonna try it to see if it holds heavy items. But
Okay.
I did try it once before, and I think I added oil to it, and it took forever to dry. So I'm gonna see.
Yes, I mean,
Anyway.
see how it works with the acrylics, and your colors are so vibrant considering
Yeah,
they're earth-based and they don't have plastic additives. I'm definitely going to research that company more again. So it's called
yeah. They
Natural
don't have a
Acrylic
lot
Paint.
of colors, but you could get their pigments and add to it too.
What was the name of the company again?
Natural Earth Paint. It's
Okay.
in, I think it's in California or something.
Great, great. Yeah, check
So,
out BioShield paints. You'll see they have glazes and different types of pigments as well. There's also milk as well, where you can get your own pigments and mix your own. So that's awesome that you're doing that.
and for ink, I'm gonna use the pigment with gum arabic and see if that works good as an ink.
Oh, wonderful. I love that. So great.
Instead of the acrylic inks, because they work really good, but I'm gonna try and keep to my voice.
Perfect. Thank you for
Uh,
sharing, Catherine.
You're welcome.
Michael, tell us what you got going on.
So I'm just starting on something. Just gonna start with a blank canvas and just kind of fiddling around. And I haven't been painting for a long time, so I just got some pencils and some charcoal and also some oil pastels. When I want to add some color to it, but that's pretty much it. Just gonna start with a blank canvas. I drew a picture the other day on just a blank canvas, and I don't have it with me, but I really liked it. So just gonna start fresh and go from there.
Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's good. You know, it's so fun to experiment with drawing materials as well when you don't feel like you want to paint and make that kind of mess, to
Yeah.
work with pastels, to work with colored pencils. Charcoals is an awesome material. You can do so much with charcoal and an eraser, you know, two simple things. You can make a masterpiece. So I love oil pastels, chalk pastels. So that's great. Look forward to seeing what you come up with. And sometimes those can be a reference point, Michael, for a painting, which is
Yes.
also a good thing too.
Yes.
All right. Life is Swindell. Welcome back as well. So good to see you. Tell us what you're working on.
I'm going to be working on a pet portrait of a friend of mine. Well, my ex really had two dogs we had these dogs together. And then when we divorced, they went away. And anyway, one passed back in last year, the end of the year, and I painted him during a session, and the other one passed the other day.
Oh,
So I'm painting that one so that way he has a pair. And then I'll be working on coming up with something fantastic, I hope, for my dog that died yesterday. She slipped on the steps going down. We went to go sweep the snow off, and she slipped past me and slipped down the steps and broke her neck.
oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
And so she didn't suffer long. She passed relatively quick. So, yeah. I'm looking forward to a distraction right now.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of dogs, so I know that's,
Yeah.
you know, an important part of your life. So it's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's a huge part of my life. So
It's awesome that you make these portraits to memorialize your little furry friends, your children, you know. It's awesome.
right. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. So today, some of us are starting stuff new, some of us are working on older pieces. You know, looking at this new year that we've all come into, the challenges that we may face, the joys that we may have, like to really think about, like, how do you want to approach your art in this new year? You know, do you want it to become a part of your life? Is it something that's going to be for really providing meaning in your daily life and making work that resonates with, you know, your values and your perspective on the world? Is it going to be used more for, you just want to practice academic and, you know, techniques and leave it at that? Or you're looking more for like healing or catharsis or play? So, you know, really consider that today as you're working, and help that imprint into your work as you move forward. Because, you know, in my mind, I see that, you know, we're in some pretty potentially dark times in the world. And art is such a wonderful tool for opportunity and such an awesome healing, and allows us to get off of our phones and not watch the news and just create and just download and just have fun and be our best selves. So consider what you want to do. Looks like we got another person just joined us, Beth Stamp. Thank you for being here, Beth. And let's let Beth say hi for a minute. Beth, why don't you introduce yourself? If you can unmute. All right.
Hi,
Hi, Beth. Welcome to Open Studio. I'm so glad to have you here.
thank you.
Do you have any artwork that you're working on today?
I have stuff that I finished yesterday.
Awesome. Do you
I
have
spent the
anything?
day in yesterday, wasn't going out in the cold
Yes, it is cold. Um, where are you checking in from?
from New Jersey.
Excellent, excellent. Well, welcome to Open Studio. So as you see, some people are already working on their work, and we'll be working for about an hour straight or so. And then at that point, I'll put you into breakout rooms. It's nice. We got a nice group today. There's 5 of you. So I'll put you in a great breakout room of 3 and a breakout room of 2 for about 10 plus minutes where you can share your work and get some feedback from your peers. So Beth, if you have an opportunity, if you want to do any ideation, sketching, thumbnails or start a new painting or drawing or collage, whatever it is you're working on, that would be great. And we'd love to have you join in.
Okay, great. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe log off and log on my computer instead of the phone. So I'll have a much better view.
Yeah, and it's also always figuring out where do you want to put your phone or your computer when we're doing this type of process so that it's showing yourself and yourself working on your work. There are a handful of tools. You can get tripods for your phone. I have a couple of those. Those are really helpful for an iPad or just to set up your laptop or desktop in a different way. And then
Okay.
we've got, Life is coming in from Alabama, Michael from Colorado, Valerie from Colorado, and Catherine, I can't recall, are you from New York? Or is that right? All right, looks like she's engaged, but we'll find out more. All right. So let's jump into our projects. And again, my question for you is how can you use your art to help set the tone for the year to come? What is it that you want to get out of your art? What are your goals? How do you want to put that intentionality into your art making process as we move forward here in the 3rd week of January? All right. So if you have any questions at any time, you can raise your hand and I'll get working on my work too. So probably around like 10 after 4, I'll put you guys into breakout rooms and we'll have some deeper conversations about the work that you worked on today. Sound like a plan? Thumbs up. Good.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, great. Thank you. Keep working.
Okay. Like this.
And also, everybody, if you don't mind, while you're just working privately on your own work, if you wouldn't mind muting yourself, or I can mute you all. And then when we come back to conversation, we can be unmuted. So, your background noise, if you're listening to music, if you have people coming in, you need to make a phone call, anything like that. So I'm just going to mute everybody at the moment. All right. And then you can always raise your hand digitally or physically if you want to be turned back on. All right, all right. How's everybody doing out there? Looks like you got some productive work going on. It looks like some life has just dropped off. I was going to put you in breakout rooms in about 2 minutes. So let's see if I can get Lifus back on so that he can join in the breakout room. And in that time period, I want you to share what you've been working on, what your intentions were, if you met the goals you were trying to do, what kind of feedback you like, kind of, as far as improvement, or perhaps it's conceptual, perhaps it's academic. So to have a conversation with the other artists, share for about 5 minutes at a time. So let me reach out to Lifus and see if I can get a hold of him, and then we'll go into breakout rooms. We've got Lifus back here in the house. I'm going to break you and put you into breakout rooms. You'll see that pop up on your screen, and I'll have a timer going for 10 minutes. I will send a message to the group when it's been 5 minutes. And at that time, make sure you switch so the other person has time to talk about their work. And then we'll reconvene. Let's see. We got 20 minutes. So we'll reconvene and then we'll have 10 at the end to kind of talk to the group at large. All right, so here we go. All right, Catherine, are you able to join the breakout room with Beth? Catherine, are you there? Hello, Catherine. Catherine. I see you painting. Can you please unmute? Okay, looks like she's not coming in. So Beth, I'm going to move you to room 1. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Catherine. All right. Right now, we have everybody in breakout rooms working together, talking about their work, getting one-on-one critique, advice, suggestions. I find it's nice sometimes for the teachers to step out and the coach let artists talk among themselves. So we like to do these breakout rooms during every open studio. When we move on to doing the 7-day intensive, there will be breakout rooms during each session and as well as group conversation. So this will go for about 5 or 10 more minutes. And as you can see, I've got 3 projects I'm working on this hour. I added some marks to this abstraction here that's with a lot of thick paint. I added some marks at the bottom and throughout this painting that I'm reworking. And then I've also got this fun project that I'm painting my phone case because the phone case was black. And it's actually really, really fun to have a bright, vibrant phone that I can keep adding paint to and modifying. Keep tuning in, and we'll have a short discussion in just a few minutes. All right, everyone's going to be coming back into the breakout room any minute, any second now. Hi, Beth.
Hi.
Welcome back. How was that first session for you?
Nice. Very nice.
Excellent. So glad to hear that. Valerie, how was that first session for you?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed being with everybody. That's what I was hoping for.
Wonderful. I love it. Catherine, how was today for you? Oh, you're on mute. You got to unmute. Okay.
I didn't know I'm muted. I'm sorry.
Okay. How was your
So,
day today? How did that work
all
for you?
right. And I see. I just turn this around.
Ah, beautiful.
Um, I did the left and most of the bottom here. This I actually put that together in Photoshop.
Okay.
And I took a background that I wanted to emulate because I really don't know how to work like that. So
Well, you're doing it. It looks good.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's an exciting piece.
So I just want to remember what I was working on before. So this is one panel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I still
It's
have
like
a
the
lot
coast
to
of Italy,
do.
right?
In and out.
I needed to get a break from this because it's like 2 more panels.
Oh,
So
Very good.
thank you.
And Lifeis, how was it for you today?
That was great. It was good getting back into it and painting again. And after a long hiatus over the holidays, um, I think the little guy came out well. I showed them. I'll show you.
Nice.
So I think he captured Chandler's personality nicely.
Good.
And
And you did all that in 1 hour, so
in an hour, yeah.
you'll keep working
Wow.
on it, I assume, right?
Huh?
You'll keep working on it, right?
Yeah, I'll keep pushing on it a little bit. It's got
Good.
let it dry and then maybe go in with some oils on top of it to give it a little glow. And
Nice. That's a great idea. Any questions you'd like to ask me about your work or anything in regards to your art practice?
well, I think we were all discussing, what do you do next?
So when you say what
when
do you do, where are you coming from to where you want to go next?
Well,
like when you finish a piece.
when you finish
Like,
a painting, what do you feel like painting next type of thing,
Ah, very good. Really, I think every time after you finish a piece, the next piece is influenced by your previous piece. But at the same time, if you were to do some writing and brainstorming and sketching, getting new inspiration, you could be doing something totally opposite. In my opinion, a piece of art's never finished. A question I had from Michael during the week in a text, he's like, "What do you do with a piece of art if it doesn't sell?" And I said, well, for one, if you sell a piece of art, that's an awesome bonus. It's a great connection. It's great to get some financial gain from your work. But at the same time, when we paint, when we make our art, we're not thinking about that commercial trade for money. So I said, well, one thing you can do is just start working on it again, like hang it up in your house or find another exhibition opportunity, so that a work continues. Like it may feel finished now, you might work on a couple other pieces and then look at that and go, I really feel like if I hone in that section or add more texture or create more, more light, that it might be more vibrant. It might feel more authentic to myself. So it's kind of a roundabout answer to your question, Beth. Does that help?
No, I'm
No.
sorry.
Okay.
Does
So
not
what
help
it,
at
what,
all for a couple of reasons.
Sure.
I'm only painting for 4 years.
Okay.
And I've had really no in-person classes because we know 4 years ago we were in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
So, and I do watercolor.
Okay.
And there is a point where you kind of have to stop layering with watercolor because either you've done dark and you can't really add light very well to it. But also I find that sometimes in the classes we move from a subject to another type of subject to a different kind of subject so quickly that I don't really hone in the skills on one particular thing. For instance, last week in class, we were working on sky and water.
Okay.
And I feel like you could work on sky and water for the next 6 months and
For
come
sure.
up with different versions. But
For
if
the
you
next
go
20
to
years.
sky and water, and then you're going to go to trees, and then you're going to go to floral, sometimes you don't spend enough time refining the skill. You sort of keep getting like a smattering of this and a smattering of that. And again, because I'm not in a class where I can ask directly and, we're doing it remotely. And then because I'm doing a lot of stuff on YouTube myself where you don't get feedback.
Sure.
That's where I am right now. So I almost feel like I'm going back to the beginning and trying to re-educate myself and stay with one thing at a time for a certain span of time or a certain span of competence or confidence, whichever one comes first.
Sure. Well, if I may just interject for a moment, Beth, would you
Sure.
mind showing me the piece of artwork that you're working on so I have just a recognition of the kind of work you're doing?
All right, I can show you two things. And I really was just touching up because I don't have good camera where I paint normally. So I was just touching up. This is what I did with the crashing waves.
Oh, very nice. Very calming.
They're supposed to be crashing waves. They're not supposed to be calming.
Well, your color palette is calming. The
Okay.
light blue of the water with the white, then the lighter sky.
Now, this is the first time.
If you wanted to add more tension to that, you could put in some darker accentuated areas within the water, within the crashing, and have some brighter white in some areas. That'll create more tension, but the way you've made it is still, it's crashing waves, but it's like similar color palette.
Yes.
So, one
of the things I did different on this is the first time I used masking.
Okay.
Not for the whole wave, but around those little fine kind of bubbles that you want to get with the crashing waves.
Yep, and you can do that with watercolors, pretty effectively. So to answer your question now that I'm seeing a painting that you're working on, when you say what's next, you can take a painting, and I've done this with Lifeis, we've worked together for a long time. You could take a painting and work on that same painting consecutively for 6 months.
Yeah.
And really push it as an experimentation of like, what would it look like if you kept that color scheme, but you kept manipulating little fine elements of value? What would it look like if you decided to be really daring and do something that was completely the opposite and just put a bunch of tension into it? So that's one thing you can do as far as the next step. And then a second, which you can do as well, is do a painting of your painting. So do that same painting 5 times and do multiple renditions of different ways to paint that same scene. So you've experimented all the different avenues. And then a third thing that comes to my mind, having worked with watercolor, is when I get to that point where it feels really heavy, I don't mind pulling out the gouache. And then gouache allows you to paint on top of watercolor with very similar consistency because it's more opaque. And combining watercolor and gouache can have some really satisfying effects because when you get to that part where the paper feels so saturated and you can't go lighter, you can't go darker, you hit a wall. And that's where coming in with some gouache can allow you to kind of reverse that transition.
Okay, that's an interesting idea. I never thought of that one. Okay.
And thank you for being here. I'm really glad that you've shown up today. I'm glad, Valerie, that you've shown up today. Lifeis and Catherine, thank you so much for coming back. Let's take one more question and then we'll see each other next week. Anybody?
Well, so I'm not a classically trained visual artist. And so my struggle when I talk about not knowing what to paint next is everything's abstract that I'm doing.
Okay.
So I just tend to go from feeling, but it gets pretty muddled after a while.
Have you
With
ever
that-
painted abstract
So-
from life? Like taking a still life
Have
and abstracted it?
Or a landscape.
No,
Or
I think that's what I need to do.
Right.
Mhm.
I need a subject, like I need something to go from, to aspire to. That's what I
And then,
feel.
you
Can
know,
I, can I suggest something?
Yes, please, Catherine.
Because I just did this week. If you go on like photo sites or art sites, and then just look at the pictures and what really stands out to your gut, like you really love it, then
yes.
save it. So keep on doing that. Save, make a board. Pinterest, make a board, and then
Pinterest,
you
yeah.
say, "Oh, let's go back. What excites me?" That's what I did this because the background, I just loved it. So
Yeah.
Nice.
that really helps when you see something that you really want, excites you.
Yeah, definitely having multiple boards on Pinterest can be really helpful for getting some new inspiration and seeing all the thousands of ways that people are doing different things that are similar. And then, another idea coming off what Catherine said is if you take a photograph of your work on your phone, you can easily go into edit settings and you can change the painting. You can make it monochromatic. You can add a lot of saturation. And that's even for you, same, Beth. It's like to look at your work before you start doing other renditions, take a picture of it and mess around with all the variables you can do on an iPhone or an Android. And then as an idea of like, oh, wow, look at this. I could push this in 1,000 different ways. And then like with Catherine said, when you look at all those different ways, which one of those ways is resonating, that it really feels like, now that's it. That's what I want to do next. Or that's really scary. Or, oh my God, that seems really hard. You jump into one of those arenas, and that can be a really great next step of what to do with your work.
Nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Good.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, when you get to a piece that feels finished, you have to then decide, do you want to frame it? Do you want to mat it? Is it on cradle board? Are you going to put a floating frame? How do you want to present it? Because then it brings it to another level presentation, whether you sell it or not, the opportunity to go through the presentation aspect allows you to fine tune and make it so that it looks, to a viewer, it looks completed. And that's also another good step. If you just want to let that piece hold for a bit, put a frame on it. It will radically change your piece, just framing it, putting it on a wall. And then another step could be go put it in a restaurant or a cafe or at a friend's house to see it in a different environment that's not your safe space in your house. So that's, some things to consider. So, going into that, thinking about one, if you guys can join, if you haven't, the Art Breakthrough Collective, if you can join the private group that's focused just for Open Studio, post your work from today. Post images, close-ups, detail shots of your work so you can get additional feedback. And then if you edit it again in the next few days, post another image. And it just allows the conversation to continue, which is a really awesome experience. And we'll be doing this again, same time, same place next Wednesday. And please tell your friends. I think the more we can build this group up, the more interactive and dynamic it's going to get, especially having artists working and talking to each other from around the country. It's pretty exciting. So
Can you send a link to what you just said? We should send our stuff to.
So it's the Art Breakthrough Collective.
Okay.
Is a Facebook group. You just have to go to that group and ask to be admitted. You have to answer a few questions, and then I'll admit you to the group. And then there's another group within that group called Open Studio, where you can, and then it's just the people who've done Open Studio post their work within that group.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Lifus has been a very strong supporter of posting his work and getting feedback. So I hope that Beth and Valerie and Catherine, you'll do the same so that it just creates more interaction virtually. And then we'll come back, start next class with some questions again, share what you've done, where we want to go, and we'll come up with some, other things to talk about.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you all so
Thank
much.
you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank
to see
you.
all.
Bye bye.
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 Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.